And straight on with the final phase, which is when the resource is actually running out. So now we're in the perhaps unlikely scenario where we're totally dependent on some resource and it's running out. So if we think of energy resources like oil, when oil starts to run out, it's not going to be, oh God, we have to use every last drop incredibly, incredibly carefully. It's going to be that we use alternative sources, land-based renewable sources, solar, wind, and so on. If we can escape the constraints of the earth and harvest energy from outside the atmosphere, then we can escape the land constraint. But if we're constrained to be on the earth, then we'll be in that middle phase. But for the sake of argument, let's assume that we are totally dependent on something that is running out. What happens? Well, basically we end up back with hodling. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Let's have a look. So if we're very near the bottom here, imagine this is the bottom of our stock, then depth is more or less constant, right? Because our extraction rate must be trending towards zero, where instead of scratching the surface, we're now sort of scraping the bottom of the barrel. Okay. If depth is constant, so that means that AD is constant. AX is growing, but so is the wage. So extraction costs will be constant because those two cancel each other out. On the other hand, the scarcity rent, if overall productivity is still growing, oops, sorry, I did the wrong thing here. Ooh. Right, if overall productivity is still growing, then the scarcity rent will, well, no, it doesn't even depend on that. The scarcity rent will grow at the rate rho, the discount rate. But extraction costs are constant. So the scarcity rent is going to dominate the extraction costs completely over time, right? And we're talking about the limiting case here. So even though we're scraping the barrel, over time, the extraction cost becomes negligible compared to the scarcity rent. So the price is pure scarcity rent. It will grow at the interest rate rho we have hodling. And of course, then we know that extraction rate will decline and so on. Okay, it's the case we've already studied. Okie doke. So that was the 3 phases of the model, 3 short videos.